Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics, and welcome to Taylor Phillips, Taylor's Detroit Sports Show. Keep getting that wrong. Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports Show. I am Taylor Phillips. This is the Mother's Day edition of the Tigers edition on my show. The number to call to voice your opinion or to be a guest or co-host is 646-478-4837. That's 646-478-4837. Find me on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and Pinterest as Taylor Phillips. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page, and join my group, my Facebook group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group, to become a more educated and stable Detroit sports fan. And follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at DT2Phillips. There's also a chat window on blogtalkradio.com on all my episodes of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show for you to comment on with your opinions. Guidelines: if you have called in, stay on the line. If you hang up, redial the number and then stay on the line. Keep it clean. Treat the show with respect. If you don't know much about the Tigers or any Detroit sports, you can still just listen, and only I can change the topics because I'm the head host of the show. No offense. Let's start with the weekend review real quick. Tigers started a 7-game homestand with a 4-game series against the Houston Astros at Comerica Park. Max Scherzer took the hill and went 8 innings and almost pitched a complete game shutout and got the win. It was scoreless after 6.5 innings, going into the bottom of the 7th inning when Rajai Davis hit an RBI single, scoring Nick Castellanos to give the Tigers a 1-0 lead. Next inning, in the bottom of the 8th, Victor Martinez hit a 2-run homer to right center field that just carried out his 5th on the year. That made it 2-0 Tigers, and that's the way it would stand as Joe Nathan pitched a very good 9th inning. He walked the leadoff batter, Dexter Fowler, but Alex Avila threw out Fowler trying to steal second. It had to be challenged, but the call on the field was upheld. The call stood. Fowler was out. Jason Castro flied out to Austin Jackson, and then Chris Carter popped out to third baseman Nick Castellanos to end the game. Tigers win 2-0. Let's go to Tuesday's game. Robbie Ray made his major league debut in the second of the 4-game series. Tigers jumped out to a 1-0 lead. On a Miguel Cabrera solo home run. Two innings later, Torrey Hunter sacrificed Avila home with a fly ball, and then Victor Martinez hit an RBI single 2 batters later, scoring Danny Worth. Going to the bottom of the 4th inning, Danny Worth sacrificed Austin Jackson home with a sac fly, making it 4-0. after 4. The Astros would get on the board in the top of the 6th. When Chris Carter reached on a fielder's choice and got an RBI as Fowler scored. But the Tigers would get that run back and then some more as Miguel Cabrera went at it again with an RBI single, scoring Ian Kinsler. And then J.D. Martinez, 2 batters later, delivered a sacrifice fly, scoring Torrey Hunter. That made it 6-1 Tigers after 7 innings of play. Then the Tigers' offense had a big inning in the bottom of the 8th. Danny Worth with an RBI single, scoring Castellanos and Avila. And then Miguel Cabrera with a 2-run double, scoring Worth and Kinsler. And then J.D. Martinez with another RBI on a single, scoring Miguel Cabrera. But then in the top of the 9th, Justin Miller came on. And Jason Castro reached on a fielding error by Ian Kinsler. That was on a pop-out. That was the Tigers' second of the week. Chris Carter singled Castro to second, then Guzman grounded into a force out. A five unassisted force out put out. A put out force out. And then George Springer hit an RBI double, scoring Chris Carter. And then Matt Dominguez got an RBI single, and then L.J. Hoes, H-O-E-S, grounded into a force out, scoring George Springer. But then Marwin Gonzalez struck out swinging as Justin Miller still wrapped up the 9th inning. The Tigers win at 11-4. On to Wednesday's game. Tigers sent Rick Porcello to the mound. While I wait for this to load, this is Taylor's Detroit Sports Show, the Tigers edition, a Mother's Day edition. Want to wish all the mothers everywhere in the world a happy Mother's Day. By the way, Robbie Ray got his first win on his first major league game back on Tuesday. Wednesday, Rick Porcello took the hill and went 6 2/3, and just got the win, improving to 5-1. Miguel Cabrera went off to another hot start with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 1st, making it 2-0 Tigers. But then in the top of the 3rd, the lead was cut in half when Dexter Fowler grounded out to Ian Kinsler at second base, scoring Marwin Gonzalez. That made it 2-1. But then in the bottom of the 6th, Victor Martinez delivered again with another solo shot to right field, a deep one in the bottom of the 6th, making it 3-1 Tigers. But then at the top of the 7th, the Astros come back with an RBI single from Marwin Gonzalez to right, scoring Mark Krause. But that's as close as the Astros would get as Jabba Chamberlain pitched a flawless inning in a third, and Nathan picked up the save. Despite walking Mark Krause and allowing 2 steals to pinch runner Jonathan Villar, Matt Dominguez struck out swinging to end the game. Tigers win 3-2. On to Thursday's game. This is where things got shaky for Drew Smyly. Tigers struck first again in the bottom of the 2nd. With an RBI double by Nick Castellanos, scoring Austin Jackson. And then Victor Martinez with another solo shot to left field. Smyly pitched the first 4 innings very flawlessly, but then he ran into a mess in the 5th inning when George Springer started the scoring for the Astros with a line drive home run to right. It went back into the first 12 or 13 rows or something like that. Wow. Then 2 batters later, with 2 out, Smyly walked Carlos Corporan. Gave up a single to LJ Hose, moving Corporan to second, and then Altuve after a blown strike called by one of the MLB home plate umpires, hit a go-ahead 2-run double, scoring Corporan and Hose to give the Astros their first lead of the series, leading it 3-2. Smyly would take care of Jonathan Villar on a flyout. That's the way it would stay until the top of the 7th, until Carlos Corporan blasted a solo shot to right field, a solo home run off of Evan Reed, making it 4-2. The Astros would tack on a couple more on a 2-run blast by Matt Dominguez off of Justin Miller. And that proved to be the dagger of this one, as the Astros were given that one 6-2. I really think the Tigers should have swept the Astros in both of the 4-game series at home, especially this one, because there's really no excuse for the Tigers to lose to a very bad team in the Houston Astros. The Astros had an awful year last year, and they're having another awful year again this year thus far. And the Tigers were flat again, just like that Thursday afternoon, just like they were in that matinee game a year ago. That day, when they lost 7-6. This is unacceptable. Calling it 646-478-4837 to voice your opinion or be a guest. Going to Friday's game, Justin Verlander took the mound, pitched 6 scoreless innings, but then gave up 2 very costly runs since the offense's pop gun continued to pop its own cork. I know what some of you Tigers fans are thinking. The Twins have had the Tigers' numbers as of late.
I want you here. What's your problem there, pal? Can't I get a bit of sleep? Don't talk me.
Yeah, I really don't want to hear that. It doesn't matter who they play, especially if their offense has been struggling against all teams. Especially if the offense has been struggling overall right now, as of late, and that really can't happen. That's one of the concerns that I'm going to touch on a bit in just a few minutes, as I go to the scoring summary of Friday night's game. Kurt Suzuki hit a game-winning 2-run single, scoring Chris Parmalee and Danny Santana in the top of the 7th. Brian Dozier to second. The bases were loaded for Kurt Suzuki, and here's why. A single by Parmalee, and then 2 batters later with 2 out, Danny Santana with a single, and then Brian Dozier drew a walk. Ouch. I think what Brad Ausmus would have done was pull Verlander with the bases loaded. Tigers got their only run on a double by Avila, scoring Austin Jackson, but Glenn Perkins made the save. Verlander, in result, took a loss, drops to 4-2. Phil Hughes improves to 4-1. Perkins with his 9th save of the year. Going to yesterday's game. Tigers offense had a big second inning, scoring 6 runs, as Max Scherzer got the nod on the hill for the Tigers as their starter. Then no, not then. Scoring summary in the bottom of the 2nd. Here's how the 6 runs came down. Alex Avila with an RBI single, scoring Don Kelly. Andrew Romine with an RBI single. Torrey Hunter reaching on a fielder's choice and a throwing error, in which there should have been 2 errors. That scored Alex Avila. Romine scored Castellanos with his single before that, and then Miguel Cabrera, the big man, went the other way with a 3-run homer, which proved to be one of the daggers in that contest. That made it 6-0 Tigers. But then in the top of the 3rd, with nobody out, Aaron Hicks drew a walk. Danny Santana hit a double, advancing Hicks to 3rd. Then Brian Dozier launched a home run to left field, a 3-run jack, cutting the 6-0 lead in half, 6-3. That's where Scherzer scuffled and tumbled here and there, but he. And Scherzer continued to struggle, but although those are the only 3 runs he gave up in the game, a walk, another error by the sluggish defense in the 4th, and then a single and a walk by Suzuki and Maurer orderly in the 5th. A double in the 6th. Nothing more there. That's when Osmus had to pull him. That was the right decision. Al Albuquerque only gave up a single, pitched flawlessly otherwise in the 7th inning. We go to the bottom of the 7th here. Victor Martinez hit a 3-run homer after Hunter single and Miguel Cabrera got hit by the pitch, and that 3-run homer made it 9-3. And that was the dagger, and that's how he stood. Tigers win 9-3. Max Scherzer improves to 5-1. And Phil Koch, by the way, pitched a scoreless 9th inning despite giving up a leadoff single by Danny Santana. Brian Dozier grounded out into a 3-6-3 double play, wiping out what would have been a possible threat. That Phil Koch would have got himself into. See, here's the question now. As Phil Koch got Kurt Suzuki to fly out to right fielder Torrey Hunter to end the game, was that scoreless 9th inning pitched by Phil Koch an understatement, or is he really starting to improve? Call me at 646-478-4837. We have just under 6 minutes left in the show. Going to Sunday's game real quick. Sorry, I'm taking up a little too much time. Robbie Ray got another start, pitched 6 solid shutout innings, but the bullpen couldn't hold on as Al Albuquerque gave up a run in the 7th inning before Ian Kroll. Al Albuquerque actually in the 7th inning allowed a runner on. gave up a single by Hosmil Pinto. In between the Colabello ground out and the Eduardo Nunez flyout, then Ian Kroll, Brad Osmus pulled Al Albuquerque and put in Ian Kroll, and then Kroll gave up 2 singles, scoring a run by Parmalee and Santana. Then in the 8th inning, Jabba Chamberlain came on, hit Brian Dozier with the first pitch of the inning, and then Dozier stole second. Chamberlain walked Joe Mauer, but then struck out the next 2 batters, Trevor Plouffe and Chris Colabello. We all thought Chamberlain would get out of it, but Hosmil Pinto singled again. That's 2 RBI singles for Pinto. It looked like it was going to remain a 3-2 game when Rajai Davis actually misplayed a ground ball in the outfield, and it went all the way to the wall. He let it skip by, feeling it was charged with a very costly error, and Mauer came all the way around to score to tie the game at 3, and then Eduardo Nunez hit an RBI single, scoring the one and only Hosmil Pinto to give the Twins a 4-3 lead, and Glenn Perkins would get the save hit there. The Tigers in the bottom half of that 8th inning had a scoring chance with Miguel Cabrera on second. Victor Martinez hit a line drive that hit Casey Fiend's glove, or bare hand actually, and Fiend threw out Martinez for the second out, and Castellanos flew out to center. I know what you're thinking. The bullpen sucks again.
I want you here. What's your problem there, pal? Can't I get a bit of sleep? Don't talk me.
Actually, you're wrong. It's the defense that cost them the game. The Twins win 4-3. My opinion column, I think their bullpen is still doing just fine. They had a couple rough outings, but didn't give up too many runs. Although they blew those Thursday's game and Sunday's game, they weren't the only players on the team who blew it. Rajai Davis let the ball skip by him all the way to the wall, allowing Joe Mauer to score. That's an example of why the defense is another concern on the part of the Detroit Tigers right now. They had committed 4 errors, one of them proving costly over the past week, and that's why the coaching staff has to make them practice better on their defense. Their offense is their other concern. 5 of their past 7 games they have scored 3 or less runs. No, it's not the opposing pitchers doing great. That's not an excuse. The hitters have to be more patient and protect the plate better. Week ahead, the Tigers hit the road for a 3-game series against the Baltimore Orioles inside Oriole Park at Camden Yards through Wednesday. First 2 games start at 7:35, and the Wednesday game starts at 12:35. They take Thursday off and then head to Fenway Park and rematch with the defending World Series champion Boston Red Sox, who eliminated them in last year's American League Championship Series. First 2 games start at 7:10. All those first 5 upcoming games are on Fox Sports Detroit, and then the Sunday game starts at 8:10 on ESPN. Tigers right now are 21-12 in the AL Central in first place. White Sox and Royals are 5 games back flat. Indians and Twins are 5.5 back. That's going to wrap it up for the Tigers edition of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show. Next week at 11, another show coming up.